Totally insane. I will absolutely not vote for you. There's not a world in which I could support you. I can't believe you have been nominated.
Today, we're walking you through the four most important politicians you need to know. Those who stood up against woke culture. These leaders didn't just hold their ground. They set the political stage on fire and went absolutely insane.
These positions are insane. He's insane. Totally insane. That's insane.
And somehow, Trump shows up with gasoline and a victory dance.
It's gone sick. And I don't like the term woke because I hear woke. You know, it's like just a term that half the people can't even define it. They don't know what it is.
In a time when staying quiet seems easier, these leaders went straight for woke culture, and the fallout was wild.
We reject woke ideology.
These aren't just policy debates. This is a full-blown cultural war where politicians are drawing a line. Ron DeSantis. So who better to kick things off than Ron DeSantis? As Florida's governor, DeSantis has made it clear Florida is where woke goes to die. He launched a fierce campaign against woke culture, aiming to dismantle DEI programs and ban teaching about race and gender that he saw as divisive. His flagship move? The Stop Woke Act, which sought to ban woke content in schools and workplaces.
We fight the woke in the legislature. We fight the woke in the schools. We fight the woke in the corporations. We will never, ever surrender to the woke mob. Florida is where woke goes to die.
DeSantis pushed the Stop Woke Act, cut DEI programs from Florida colleges, and blocked gender-affirming care for minors. But courts weren't buying it. Judges, even Trump appointees, struck down key parts of his legislation, calling the law dystopian and unconstitutional. The legal blowback was swift. Courts blocked the law in workplaces and colleges, and critics accused DeSantis of focusing on culture wars instead of real issues like rising insurance rates. Even some Republican lawmakers began losing interest in his agenda.
A federal judge just struck down part of Governor DeSantis' Stop the Woke Act.
Despite winning conservative support, DeSantis' anti-woke agenda lost momentum. Courts blocked key measures, and his proposals to ban Confederate monument removals and rainbow flags failed. Floridians seem to be tiring of his focus on culture wars over real issues. Donald Trump. And Trump, oh, he's right there, fanning the flames with both hands, grinning like he's just hit a hole-in-one at Mar-a-Lago. I gotta say, he's definitely my all-time favorite.
Said, you know what woke means? It means you're a loser. Everything woke turns to shit, okay? The military were ending woke immediately. You know, I ended woke, totally. And then they, in their first week, they reestablished it. It's crazy.
And when he's on a roll, the man doesn't stop. Just the other day, he was saying that the traditional military, the Trump military, is so resilient that even if they were placed in a woke environment and yelled at for 2.5 years, they'd still come out ready for action, saying, "Let me at 'em."
Military's great, and then I go on woke. You could put them in a woke room and scream at them for 2.5 years. They'd walk out and say, "Let me at 'em."
I mean, come on. Can you picture it? Navy SEALs locked in a pastel-colored room with safe space posters on the walls, getting lectured about gender pronouns, and then, boom, they storm out like, okay, who's next? Meanwhile, Trump's probably thinking, see, these are my kind of people, definitely not woke. Funny enough, while Trump's fans love his anti-woke vibe, he's been dealing with some surprising backlash from people who used to be in his corner.
Today, Howard Stern, he's a weak guy. He's weak. He's going, what about.
I don't hate the guy. I hate the people who vote for him. I think they're stupid. I don't think I do. I'll be honest with you. I have no respect for you.
Donald Trump and Howard Stern often shared a friendly, headline-grabbing relationship, with Trump frequently appearing on Stern's show. But things took a sharp turn after Stern began openly criticizing Trump's politics, especially during his presidency. Recently, Stern hosted an interview with Vice President Kamala Harris, where both took shots at Trump, further escalating tensions.
We call that a sore loser. And in this case, this is someone who has already lost, which would say that they are actually already a loser.
After Stern's interview with Harris, Trump went on the offensive. He blasted Stern on Truth Social, calling him a beta male and mocking the interview for its softball questions, suggesting even Harris was embarrassed. Trump also fumed at Stern for what he saw as pandering to Harris's claim that Trump is too cozy with dictators like Putin.
To think he was good, then I dropped him, and I dropped him like a dog. Anybody, and he was great at that time, and then he went woke.
Trump's rant didn't exactly shake Stern, who doubled down by encouraging his listeners to vote against Republicans. Stern, once a platform for Trump's most controversial moments, was now his critic. Much to Trump's dismay, Trump accused Stern of having gone woke, claiming that Stern's ratings had tanked, even though SiriusXM doesn't release such data. The fallout has only deepened the divide between the former friends. Trump's aggressive response failed to sway Stern, who continued to push his anti-Trump stance. While Trump's loyal base may have cheered his attacks, Stern remains unmoved, leaving their once famed friendship in ruins. Ted Cruz. Next, we have Senator Ted Cruz.
I believe in girls' sports. I believe in women's sports. I'm the proud father of 2 daughters who are both athletes.
Senator Ted Cruz has made quite a name for himself with his passionate speeches against woke culture, and he recently took that energy into a debate about gender differences. During a session with Kelly Robinson, the president of the Human Rights Campaign, the discussion shifted to whether men and women are fundamentally different.
It's about trans women.
I'm just asking, is there a difference between women and men?
In the mix was Riley Gaines, a competitive swimmer who's been at the forefront of the debate on trans athletes in women's sports. Riley tied with Leah Thomas, a transgender athlete, in a race at the 2022 NCAA Championships. The organizers gave the trophy to Thomas for photo purposes, telling Riley she could hold it for a picture but would have to give it back. The whole situation left Riley frustrated and kicked off a big conversation about fairness in women's sports, turning her into a leading voice for keeping men and women's competition separate. When Cruz asked her questions, one might expect a vague response about equality, but Riley didn't hold back.
Clear.
Do you believe there's a difference between women and men? It's a yes-no question. Do you believe there's a difference?
Oh, I think that
She remarked that, of course there's a difference, pointing out that even watching 12-year-olds compete shows how puberty creates significant advantages. She emphasized that once boys hit puberty, they gain traits like increased lung capacity, which can make a world of difference in swimming. And then she threw in an unexpected fact about throat size. Men have a 40% larger throat on average. It's an odd detail, but it highlights the point that when you're gasping for air after a race, the extra throat space can feel like having a turbocharger.
We have to give the trophy for Leah because Leah has to have it for pictures. They've made that clear. Leah has to have the trophy for pictures. You can pose with this trophy, but you have to give yours back. You have to go home empty-handed. Leah Thomas takes the trophy home. End of story.
While Cruz was busy fighting back against what he sees as woke stuff creeping in, Riley reminded everyone that no matter how much people debate fairness in sports, biological differences still matter. In fact, the incident of Riley Gaines versus Leah Thompson served as a real-life flashpoint that inspired the anti-trans comedy, Lady Ballers, a satire by the Daily Wire. The film uses humor to highlight frustrations around policies in women's sports, echoing the experiences of athletes like Riley. Cruz even makes a cameo in the movie, reinforcing his alignment with the film's message and further blurring the lines between politics and entertainment.
So, a guy can become a girl with no physical changes at all.
Oh, that's called gender fluid.
So I can be a woman on the court and a man in the bedroom. I can't believe it. No!
Let's cut to the chase. I know you're not a woman.
Hey, you don't know how he identifies.
Josh Hawley. Cruz isn't the only one backing Riley Gaines. Senator Josh Hawley has also jumped in to support her. Hawley often talks about her experience racing against Leah Thompson to make her case that only women should compete in women's sports. He even features Riley in his campaign ads and Senate hearings, using her story to argue that letting transgender women compete is unfair.
God made us male and female, and that's good. When he made us, he looked upon it and he called it good. Wrong with our kids. There's something wrong with them.
Senator Josh Hawley, a well-known critic of woke culture who made it his mission to protect women's spaces and sports, recently grilled a judge over their views on gender laws during a tense Senate hearing. He basically accused the judge of saying that laws separating men's and women's spaces like bathrooms or locker rooms are unconstitutional.
I believe that generally speaking, there are two sexes, male and female, that are designated by a doctor at birth, and that applies to the vast majority of people.
Peace. You suggest at least 3 different constitutional problems with any gender-based laws, including specifically bathroom laws. You write about it.
Here is like, I see only women and men. There is no between.
The whole thing got really intense. Hawley kept calling the judge's views insane. Funny enough, even Khabib Nurmagomedov had a similar reaction when he ran into gender-neutral bathrooms in California.
Couple weeks ago, and I was in California, I was like on coffee shop. It's like, I really want to go bathroom. It's like, can I go bathroom? Okay, they told me code, and I'm coming like 2 bedroom, all gender, all gender. It's like, what is this? Where I have to go?
Honestly, the way Khabib talks about it reminds me of how Hawley handled the judge. Both just couldn't wrap their heads around these new norms and weren't afraid to say exactly how they felt about it.
Tell you, I think these positions are insane. I think the idea that laws based on the distinction between male and female are a violation of church and state is insane. Totally insane. I think the idea that laws that would say women's locker rooms are protected from biological men, that those are impermissible, that's insane.
Now check this out. If I were the judge, I'd be so mad. Imagine sitting there trying to explain yourself, and Hawley just keeps calling your views insane, like 597 times in front of everyone.
All of these things, and your position is insane. Totally insane. I will absolutely not vote for you. There's not a world in which I could support you. I can't believe you have been nominated.
Here's another moment where things got messy. During a Senate hearing, Hawley went all in on law professor Kiara Bridges.
And she's talking about women's rights, and what I noticed was she would never say the word woman. Keeping a tally, what she said was, she kept using this phrase, persons with the capacity for pregnancy.
During the Senate hearing, Hawley asked Professor Kiara Bridges a pretty straightforward question. Basically, are you talking about women when you say people with the capacity for pregnancy? But Bridges was not having it. She hit back saying it's not just women. Trans men and non-binary folks can also get pregnant. Things escalated quick when she accused Hawley of being transphobic and claimed that questions like his can lead to violence against the trans community.
So I want to recognize that your line of questioning is transphobic, and it opens up trans people to violence by not recognizing them.
Wow, you're saying that I'm opening up people to violence by asking whether or not women are the folks who can have pregnant? I said, sure, go ahead. She said, do you believe that men can get pregnant? Now, for a second, I thought she was kidding. Then I realized she was totally serious. So I said, no, I don't. And she said, see, you're transphobic. And I wanted to say, see, you're insane. This is crazy. It's crazy. Come on. Come on. There are 2 genders, 2. Not 2,000, not 200. There are 2. And
Hawley wasn't having it, though. He shot back like, wait, so I'm inciting violence just for asking questions? It was a whole back and forth, with sarcasm flying everywhere. At one point, Bridges even invited him to come sit in her class, saying, you might learn something. And Hawley, in full petty mode, responded with, oh, I've learned plenty today. Total chaos. Hawley also shared a heartfelt message about his children and the values he believes in. He said, I have 3 wonderful children, and what I want them to understand is that the way God created them is exactly how they are meant to be.
is the way that God made them is good. God made us male and female, and that's good. When he made us, he looked upon it and he called it good. There's nothing wrong with our kids. There's something wrong with...
So there you have it, a classic tale of political intrigue where the battle against woke culture rages on, and the stakes couldn't be higher. What do you think about all these politicians who actually dared to speak up their hearts? Did they do the right thing? Share your thoughts in the comments below. If you like this video, click on the next one. It's like this, but even more juicy.